fantastic. Boom. That's my review. Oh, sorry, dude. That's my cats. You know those door things that are like, they just hit that. My door. Spider-Man Brand New Day is fucking fantastic. Go see that shit. That's my review. Easy. Simple. Yeah, I want to yap about Spider-Man Brand New Day. So I'm kind of getting in a bit of a late night. I got a new car today, which has been really, really nice. Been kind of a long time coming. I've been driving without AC for a little bit. Actually, honestly, I'm still kind of warm. Turning on my fan, but kind of been a long time coming. I finally got a new car today, and I'm very excited about it. Driving it home was scary. I've heard too many horror stories of people like crashing their car right after they get it, and I was like really paranoid that was gonna be me. Like at one point, freaking, I was on the freeway, and this massive ass cement truck drifted into my lane, and literally I felt the wind of that fuck ass truck. It almost hit me and shit. It was crazy. Anywho, but I'm home. I'm really happy about a new car, and I'm sick and tired of not yapping about Brand New Day. I saw Brand New Day like not opening night that Thursday, but last Friday. Been sitting on it. I wanted to see it again before I reviewed it because I kind of want to actually put more effort into like my reviews. Sometimes when I review a movie, I think if a new movie comes out, I want to just talk like this. But if it's an old movie that I want to talk about and review, I kind of want to actually sit down and edit it and make it fun. I really want to do that. That's something that I honestly have been experimenting with a little bit behind the scenes, and it's something that I really want to continue and just grow on and kind of perfect that. I really enjoy reviewing movies. It's something that I like a lot more than I thought I would, and I kind of want to pursue that a little more. But I saw Brand New Day. I haven't had an opportunity to see it a second time. I wanted to see it twice before I put something out. But in all honesty, I just want to yap about it because it's really good. I won't make this video too long. There's only a couple things that I really want to hit because, again, it's been a week and I don't remember everything that I want to talk about, obviously. But long story short, it's fantastic. It's easily my movie of the year so far. I give it a 9 out of 10. When I first walked out, I was like 9.5, but I've kind of settled back down to a 9, just because a couple of key things that obviously I'll get into. But on the whole, beautiful fucking fantastic movie, so much fun all the way through. Hi, you okay? You looked so stressed, buddy. Are you and your brother playing tag again? Where he at? Oh no, he's right back there. Well, now he just left. Do you see that? What are you doing? I love you, buddy. So basically, the premise of this Spider-Man Brand New Day is that after suffering the events of No Way Home, everyone forgetting who he is, he's isolated and alone. He's been isolated and alone for 4 years, and in this 4-year period of time, he's been basically watching Ned's Instagram, live streams essentially about him and his lifetime and college experience and stuff like that. And while in the meantime, he's isolating himself as Peter Parker and only solely focusing on Spider-Man. So he's neglecting his physical and his mental health. And he's pouring all of his resources into becoming a better, more efficient Spider-Man. And I really like this, because not only does it ground this character, it's such a relatable and beautiful message. And it's such an interesting plot the way this develops, right? It's not some evil person doing this to him. It's him grappling with both identities, with him trying to forget Peter like the rest of the world because he's scared and isolated and alone as Peter. And so the spider brain in him is taking over. And it's so fucking phenomenal. It's done super well, super emotional. I loved that. That's a big high of the movie for me, is just that general direction that they go. And so, I want to get into most of my positives. It's not going to be like a play-by-play, but that's the general premise. And then some other super mysterious force shows up that he has to beat. And that's a big complaint of mine. That's the only real complaint that I have, but I'll get into that. For the most part, I just want to talk about the shit that I loved, what made it so much fun for me, and then the thing that drags it a point down for me. Spider-Man, for sure, is my favorite superhero. And one of the things that I love so much about him is the idea that anyone can be Spider-Man, anyone can wear the mask. I fucking love that. It's such a cool, relatable, and powerful message to have for a superhero. And I've always loved it. And I think that this Spider-Man, Tom Holland is my Spider-Man. So I've always said this. I think that the two Spider-Verse movies are the best superhero movies on the planet. They're the two best, like, easily the best Spider-Man movies, no question. Miles in those movies is unreal, and the animation elevated the game to a whole new level. The beautiful stories, the way that they ground a character and an infinite number of characters is beyond impressive, and it's a love letter to superheroes and comicdom, and it's fucking incredible. Okay? But those are the Spider-Verse movies. I'm talking live action strictly here. Tom Holland's my goat. He's the Spider-Man I grew up with. I'm 21. It came out. His first movie came out in 2016. I was 11 or 12 at the time, and I've grown up with his movies. Homecoming, No Way Home, or Far From Home, No Way Home, and I've loved them all. I thought Homecoming was incredible. I really enjoyed Far From Home. I understand the criticisms that it got. It wasn't the best of all time, but it was still really fucking enjoyable. And then No Way Home, I actually think is the worst of the trilogy. It's the most entertaining, I think, because fan service and all three of them. But I do think it's the worst of the trilogy. But I think the way they take his character, what happens with Aunt May, is so tragic and emotional. And I think Tom has forever cemented himself as one of the best superheroes. I think he's up there now with RDJ, with Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and like them as those characters. Like if I hear Spider-Man, I think Tom Holland. If I hear Iron Man, I think RDJ. If I think Captain America, I think Chris Evans, right? Hey, Handsome, I love you. What are we doing? Right. And so I think he's cemented that. And I think it's really rare in any series that the fourth movie is the best one. And I'm very confident that Brand New Day is the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. It's incredible. New York feels like a fucking character. All the people and the way he interacts with the city feel amazing. His suit being a real suit and not CG, buddy. Being a real CG, he's just all over the place. Like, that feels really fucking good. It feels like a grounded Spider-Man, and everything about that feels incredible. The action, I cannot state this enough, is amazing. Fucking fantastic. Fan-fucking-tastic. Like, oh my god. It's so much fun. It takes so much inspiration from the Insomniac games. And it's just, it's incredible. Like, there's this one scene, like, so halfway, or maybe not halfway, but like a third of the way through the movie, there's a scene where he jumps on a rooftop, like the Insomniac games, and he webs people and he hangs them from the building, like the games. Then towards the end, final battle, spoiler alert, by the way, towards the final battle, Department of Damage Control, he's fighting some of those goons, and he, like, does the, like, if you press X when someone's shooting you, it does like that weird sense thing and you dodge the bullet with a backflip. He does that and then he webs him up against a wall, straight from the games, by the way. Fucking sick. The swinging and the action was so much fun. There were so many colors. Hulk is done really well in this movie, which I was worried wasn't going to be done well. The Hand was done really well in this movie. And then I'm going to jump in to my absolute biggest, and I mean biggest, compliment I can give this movie. They didn't retcon him being forgotten. So MJ and Ned are still very important characters in this movie, but the way that they carry these characters is so fucking amazing. So, like, basically, right, Peter still loves MJ, okay? And then at one point, the new villain, Jean Grey, she's a psychic or whatever, she learns by going into Tom's mind. She can't control Tom. She can control other people. She can't control Tom, but she goes into his mind and learns that, like, he still has this love for MJ and Ned, right? And so then he realizes that because she was in his brain, that, like, she might be a target. So he goes to MJ's apartment and he's like, hey, quickly, you're in danger, as Spider-Man, because she doesn't know who Peter is, and he rescues her. And so it's the first real scene you get of them together where fucking, like, it legitimately, like, it had me in the first time in the theater going, oh, because what happens is she takes over MJ, the villain takes over MJ, and Peter doesn't realize. So he flies her to this rooftop, and then MJ leans in and tells him, like, hey, listen, who are you? I feel like a piece of me has been missing. I remember you saving me. Like Spider-Man, not Peter, but remember Spider-Man saving her and her friends, and it makes the most sense that, like, they had something together. And so she's like, you and me were something, weren't we? Right? And they go in, and then Tom's acting in the scene is, both of their acting in this scene is unbelievable. But, like, at one point, hey buddy, I love you so much. At one point, so, like, Tom, like, is hugging her and crying his eyes out, and he's like, oh my god, I miss you so fucking much. Like, I can't believe you're here right now. I've been so lonely. And then, like, the villain Jean Grey talks through MJ and is like, touch her, Peter. And it's the most unsettling, fucked up thing ever, because then he realizes that she's being mind controlled that whole time. And that's tragic when you think about the fact that he's been alone and isolating himself for years, keeping himself alive solely on the fact that he misses this character, and she just did that to him. And then tried to throw herself off the roof, and Peter had to go catch her before she died. Like, that's crazy. Like, what great direction. Anyway, the biggest compliment, though, I can give. So that scene was crazy. That was the first time in a theater in a while where I was like, and the whole theater was doing that. But the big compliment about MJ and Peter that I can give in this movie is their chemistry is unfucking real. So there's this scene where Peter goes to the Punisher's house with MJ and is like, we have to keep her safe. This is after that scene that I just talked about. And so then Peter is working on his like inhibitor thing to try to suppress the spider DNA. And he's working on shit at that place. And MJ is like on a bunk bed and there's a curtain between them. It's pretty see-through, but she's looking up like, trust. And there's this scene where they're talking and they have unbelievable chemistry. And yes, they're married, so like whatever. But like their chemistry is unreal, and those two characters feel like they fit together so well, and that was beautiful. And so then immediately following, right, Spider-Man goes to essentially Spider-Man fights Hulk in this next sequence, and then he comes back, and he accidentally left that note that he's been holding on to for 4 years that he was supposed to read to her at the coffee shop, but he didn't. And she has this really beautiful scene with him, and she's like, listen, you told me that you were going to come find me after I lost my memory, and you chose not to. For me, you don't get to make that choice. I get to make that decision. You took that decision away from me. But then she follows it up with, listen, Peter, I get that you love me, but I'm not her. I don't love you. And like unbelievably crushing, and you feel awful for Peter. Because again, their acting in this scene is fucking amazing. But you gotta remember, she doesn't know him, and I'm so glad they didn't just retcon and make her remember him somehow. Like, that is the way you do a scene like this. They're acting phenomenally. They're incredible actors. This looks amazing. It sounds amazing, and like this is how I think that you continue this story. Oh, but then Peter swings her home, and then she's like, "Do you want to come up?" And then he meets Ned as Spider-Man, mask on. MJ doesn't tell Ned any of this. But then they're like sitting and building Legos together, and they're having a really great time, and all of their chemistry is peak. But like it's done in such an endearing and incredible way, and that was the biggest thing that I was worried that they would ruin, but they didn't. So like the action's great, the story, like the character chemistry is fantastic, all in all the right ways. Yelena's in this movie for barely a little bit, but Peter's and her chemistry is really good too. It's just like co-workers, basically. Dr. Banner is in the movie and Hulk is in the movie, and I thought it would be kind of tacky. Like I thought he wouldn't really fit, but he does. He does. Peter goes to ask him as a college student to be like, hey, listen, how do you suppress the Hulk DNA? And then later Jean Grey learns about that conversation and then destroys the inhibitor that Dr. Banner has for the Hulk, and so then the Hulk comes out, and then they fight, and obviously Spider-Man's going to lose that fight, and he loses it, and how Spider-Man like wins the fight or whatever is Hulk's about to like kill him, has him dead to rights, and he's like, oh my god, Dr. Banner, please, it's Peter. And I think the Hulk doesn't remember Peter, but the Hulk recognizes that this is just a kid, and so he lets go. And like, oh, that was cool. Like that was done well. So that all though basically takes place in the first two acts of this movie. So there's one final act left. And this is where my one complaint comes from. Jean Grey. I do not think that she's a bad character. I've seen people online state that she's irredeemable. I don't think she's any of those things. I think, because for example, so essentially she does that to Peter where she manipulates MJ, right? And then she walks an old guy into the street a little bit later. She does some pretty fucking awful shit. She kills a lot of people, right? Don't get me wrong. But Uncle Iroh, we love Uncle Iroh. He was like a murderer. He led armies to kill people, and he's one of the most beloved characters in all of fiction, okay? Like, if he's redeemable, so is Jean Grey. She's someone hurting, right? Like, I don't think she's irredeemable. I don't agree with she's irredeemable, but Peter saving her the way she does is unearned. That's my complaint. So essentially what happens is Peter realizes that the Department of Damage Control, they're the bad guys because they were the ones who kidnapped her sister, and she was looking for her sister the whole time. Her sister, and her backstory is pretty sad. Her sister mind controls her so that she also so that the Department of Damage Control doesn't realize that her sister's a mutant too, and so she mind controls her to go away, and then she wakes up and her sister's gone, and she realizes that like. So then the entire movie essentially of her being the villain is her quest to go find her sister. And she does some pretty fucked up shit, no denying it. The thing with MJ and Peter in the theater literally had me like, oh my god. That was one of the first times in a theater in forever where I was like, it was crazy. But like, she's not irredeemable. But my complaint is, so how the story ends up fixing itself, right, is Peter comes to terms with who he is. He's Spider-Man, and he realizes there's been like a memory of his that he's been avoiding, and it's May saying that May's talking to Peter. And she's like, listen, Peter, you're going to get powerful. You're going to get strong. You have responsibility as a superhero, right? But your greatest responsibility is to remember that the people around you love you because you're you, not because you have superpowers. They love you because you are special and you deserve to take care of yourself and treasure yourself like that, not because you have powers, but because you're special. It's a beautiful moment. It's carried, it has a ton of weight, and it's fantastic. But, and this is my complaint, they compare Jean Grey's story too much to Peter's. I don't think that's earned because she's killing a ton of people looking for her sister. Peter is battling with unbelievable isolation, not because he's a superhero, but because everyone forgot who he is. In the previous movies, he let people in and they balanced him out and they grounded him. Now he doesn't have that. So it's not like he's looking for more people. He feels alone and isolated. Her story is she's specifically looking for her sister, and she does bad shit. Yes, it's because she's different, but Peter's motivation in this movie isn't because he's different. He's looking for a way to balance the scales. He's looking for a way to not become a spider freak. He's trying to figure out his own internal shit. She's looking for her sister. Anyway, so it climaxes with Jean Grey freezing like half of New York in her like weird mind beam thing. Peter being one of the only people who's not affected by it, so he goes to meet her. And essentially she's like, you can't do anything to stop me. And he's like, listen, Jean. He does what Spider-Man does. I love that this is his reaction, is that he forgave her. He was like, listen, I understand you're looking for your sister. You're not alone. Like, you have me. That's fantastic. But they compare their stories too much. Like, the speech that Aunt May is giving to Peter is different than what Jean Grey would have needed to hear. And maybe, like, I'm being a little bit too, like, oh, that's not, like, their stories are similar. Like, they're both kind of alone and they're superpowered. Yeah. But it doesn't feel earned because up until this point, they're not comparing their stories at all. She's just looking for her sister. And then Peter is like, I guess it's two sides of a different coin, but still, it doesn't really feel earned. It's like you don't get a ton of time actually getting to know Jean Grey and her sister's backstory. It's like a little snippet. It's mostly just Peter being Peter and helping her out, but the way that they put her in his shoes for that scene, I just felt was like, it just didn't feel right. Like, it felt unearned. And it wasn't bad by any means. Like, I don't think that the complaints about her being like bad in this movie are true. I think she was great. I think Sadie Sink is phenomenal. She's a phenomenal actress. I loved her in Stranger Things. And I think that she carries a lot of emotional weight in this movie too. That specifically, it feels a little, not rushed necessarily, because I felt the movie did a really good job pace-wise. I don't feel like the right amount of information was in this movie before that kind of ending happens. Like, when that was the end, I was like, all right, like, it felt okay, but that is my only complaint. Like, Jean Grey was still great. Like, she was still a great villain. Peter's story was really, really moving and beautiful. I thought her story on the whole was also still tragic and beautiful. I just think it feels a little bit weird because it just doesn't really feel like their stories are linked enough in the moment for it to really feel like a good emotional payoff. because he's sitting next to her, and he's like, "I'm sorry about your sister," and she's like, "I'm really sorry about your aunt," and he's like, "Yeah, you would have loved her," and I don't know, it's a really sweet, tender scene. It's just it feels a little out of place for me. That's why I really wanted to rewatch it before I made my review, because I wanted to see really how I felt about it. And again, it's a little foggy, and I might have to think more about it, you know. But even still, with me not thinking that was handled perfectly, I'd still give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was such a fun ride the whole way through. Um, yeah, so action was fantastic. I thought the humor was fantastic. I thought the stories were fantastic and emotional. I thought Punisher was incredible. I thought Hulk was done really well. The Hand was done well. I thought Scorpion was done well. New York was done well. The memory forgetting Peter thing was done well. They have small moments that like show Peter's growth from the movie from the start to the end that are all really good. And on the whole, I really fucking like this movie. If you haven't seen it, you should go see this movie. I've been recommending it to people all week. It was such a fun watch. And yeah, I really loved it. I really, really loved it. I want to go see it again. So I'm going to give this a good old-fashioned 9 out of 10 on the Stoob scale. So yeah, way better than the Odyssey. That's about it. Yep.